This is a weather forecast video for Wednesday, May 2nd, 2012. Taking a look at the satellite image from last evening, you can see some complexes of showers and thunderstorms over the Midwest and into the Central Plains states, with a system that'll be bringing us some severe weather over the next couple of days and nights. The watch warning map from a little after midnight showed some severe thunderstorm watches across Iowa into Nebraska and a few warnings, a few flooding issues over Ohio. Otherwise, it's quiet. QPF chart doesn't look quiet. This is precipitation for the next 5 days through Sunday evening at 7 o'clock. Shows we could see rainfall amounts upwards of 3 to 4 inches if we get under a couple of thunderstorms several times. But most likely 1 to 2. Here's the severe weather outlook for today and tonight. A moderate risk of severe weather extends from about Des Moines and Ames westward to about Sioux City and Omaha, and then westward into Nebraska, with a slight risk further to the west and way to the east. Here's the tornado outlook for today and tonight. A decent risk of tornadoes, especially north of a line from Glenwood to Des Moines to about Cedar Rapids to Guttenberg, and from there northward. This is the damaging wind outlook for today and tonight. You can see 45% chance of damaging wind. That's mainly in the moderate risk area from Des Moines and Ames westward through Sioux City and Omaha. And here's the large hail outlook for today and tonight. 30% chance from western and central Wisconsin, south and westward through most of the northern part of Iowa into eastern Nebraska, with the hatched area of large hail, or very large hail. And here's the severe weather outlook for Thursday. A slight risk of severe weather extends throughout the Great Lakes, southwestward through Iowa into Kansas and Oklahoma. So this will be areas south and east of a line from about Mason City to Omaha. But the better probabilities look to be just to our east from about the Quad Cities to Chicago to Detroit. So we could see some interesting weather over the next couple of days, even past this point, in fact. Let's take a look at some parameters. This is the STP, the significant tornado parameter, at 10 p.m. this evening. You can see some very high values over central Iowa and also in Nebraska into Kansas, where they're most likely going to be capped off. This is the supercell potential, and the higher values are further to the west, although some decent values over the central part of the state, mainly around Ames, Des Moines, in that area, and then in Nebraska through Kansas. This is the Craven-Brooks Index, or the significant severe, and some very high values across Iowa into Nebraska and down into Kansas and Oklahoma, although they'll likely be capped off. There could be some isolated storms down there as well. Now let's take a look at surface-based CAPE. This is from the NAM at 7 p.m. this evening. You can see some decent amounts of CAPE, upwards of 2,000 to 4,000 joules, with the highest values over the western part of the state. Here's the capping layer at the same time, and this shows that there will be little, if any, cap around the state. Decent cap, in fact moderate to strong cap from Oklahoma down into Texas, thus very little, if any, weather there. This is the same value of CAPE. This is the CAPE value from the GFS. It's a little lower, 1,500 to about 3,000 joules, with the higher CAPEs further to the south where they'll be capped off. Now looking ahead, this is still on the GFS, but this is 7 p.m. Thursday evening, and you can see very high CAPE values from Missouri southwestward, upwards of 6,200 joules per kilogram near Oklahoma City. That's very high. So let's take a look at the 0Z GFS model run. This is at 7 p.m. this evening. We still have a pretty zonal flow across the country, a bit of a ridge over the south and east. And at the surface, we have some moisture coming up from the Gulf, and still we have a storm system with a frontal boundary around, so showers, thunderstorms, some strong to severe at some time. This continues into Thursday. Showers, thunderstorms, some severe. Temperatures during this time will be in the 70s to lower 80s, and all of these storm chances are dependent on clouds, on outflow boundaries. This here's Friday evening. Still could see some showers, thunderstorms, some severe, but becoming more likely further to the south and east at that time. Saturday, still a frontal boundary close by. Showers, thunderstorms, severe weather could be possible. Most likely a little bit further to the south and west at this point. Heading into Sunday, a boundary still in the area. Showers, thunderstorms, some could be severe again. But when we're getting this far out, we have to think about mesoscale systems and boundaries, and even here into Monday, boundary still nearby. Showers, thunderstorms, some could be severe again. And we're going to keep going on and on and on about this, but it's going to be an ongoing pattern. By Tuesday, this is finally moving away. And although could see some leftover showers, but they won't be severe, and temperatures will cool off back into at least the upper 60s to low 70s. And a week from today, next Wednesday, a bit of a trough axis nearby, otherwise a pretty zonal flow west to east. And unfortunately, we have some more moisture in the area, but all the shower and thunderstorm activity, at least of a severe magnitude, is likely going to remain to our south and southwest, not around here. A couple days later, on May 13th, ridge over the west, or building up into the west, a bit of a trough over New England, and another one about to move into the Pacific Northwest. At the surface, a bit of a frontal system to our south, bit of a disturbance coming in, could spark a shower or storm. Not sure of severe weather this far out, that's for sure. At the end of the forecast, May 17th, a disturbance coming through the northern plains and into the upper Midwest. Otherwise, it's pretty zonal from west to east again. And at the surface, could see another storm system, could see some severe weather, but it's way too far out to be looking at severe weather, even a few days out, in fact. Thank you for tuning in to the weather forecast video. We'll try to have another one on